Hello, welcome to the Thai War channel, my alternate channel. I have Goose Island India Pale Ale. There's the Goose from Goose Island in Chicago, Illinois. I've never been to that brewery in Illinois. Actually, I've never been to any brewery in Illinois, and there's a good number of them. Just like, well, I've been to one in Wisconsin, namely Miller Brewing Company's brewery. Would like to go to others. I've been to Abita Brewing in Louisiana. Oh, well, you don't want to hear all that. I've been to the Anheuser-Busch Brewery in Houston when they did give tours. That didn't last. Didn't get any people touring it. That was my impression. Nobody was there. I was the only person there when I went. Literally the only person there. Of course, it was 10:30 in the morning. Still, if you went to St. Louis at 10:30 on a weekday at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, it would be mobs of people in the summer. Doesn't matter. All right, let's go to Goose Island. It says flagship IPA, 6-time medal winner at the GABF. I forgot to look up the World Beer Cup. I know they have that every other year. I was curious to see who won. I noticed they kind of took the macro beers out of the competition on GABF, Great American Beer Festival. All right, malts, two-row Bon, that means good, I guess, in French. Bon, good. Munich and C20. The hops, Pilgrim, Celia, Cascade, and Centennial. Gentle bitterness, lightly sweet, slightly sweet linger, and gently bitter linger. I'll go along with that. Strong bitterness. I like the can. I never see canned Goose Island around here in Louisiana. Just bottles, 12 ounce. That's it. I do see draft now. If I go to the Tulane football games in New Orleans, Louisiana, they have Anheuser-Busch, stations where they sell beer, and they'll have Budweiser, Bud Light, of course, Goose Island 312 wheat. Is it they call the 312 wheat? And a few others. So you'll see that there. And there'd be people buying it. So it's probably one of the top-selling India Pale Ales in America, I would think. What are the top-selling India Pale Ales? Lagunitas. See that at all Walmart, Circle K stores. I saw Lagunitas today. I was thinking about buying it when I went to Circle K, but I bought 2 15-packs of Keystone Ice. They charged me the wrong price, so they had to give me a refund. But it was $7.99 for each 15-pack, which is a good price this day and age in Louisiana. Craig Swenson, good afternoon. Just got home. Still have yet to listen to today's taste challenges. I did Canadian whiskey this morning, which was sort of a challenge, but not really, because I'm getting so used to the flavor of Lord Calvert with that caramel candy flavor that it's so pronounced that when I go up against the Sazerac brands, you could just tell like that fast. Sazerac, they have flavored whiskey, but they're much more subtle. Now, on their own merits, they don't seem to be. They're like, whoa, this is so loud with the flavoring. But then when you go to Lord Calvert, it's like a siren going off. And you say, oh, no, you can't mistake it. Then I did the rum. Well, what kind of challenge would that have been? None. Clubhouse rum, which is a legitimate rum that you could drink and enjoy if you were looking to drink rum, and I wouldn't be, but if you were, against the atrocity Ron Rio. Bad. Just bad. Tastes like grass and pesticide and old rancid sugarcane stalks. Nagada. The next one's going to be the Aristocrat versus Ron Rio. Same thing. It's going to be the same thing. You want to save time, don't watch it. It's going to be, oh yeah, Aristocrat. This is a nice little thing. Ron Rio, this is horrible. And then I'll do Aristocrat versus Bocador. That'll be a real challenge. Now, that'll be a real challenge. Aristocrat versus Captain Morgan. There's only one Captain Morgan in my house, and that's going to be a real challenge. And then I'll do the The Clubhouse versus the Bocador, challenging. Clubhouse versus Captain Morgan, that'll be challenging. Then Ron Rio versus the other Ron Rio and Bocador and Ron Rio, no challenge, no challenge. And then Bocador versus Captain Morgan, a real challenge. That'll close that out for the white rums. Then I'll introduce a new white rum, the last one I've got, the Ron Pontalba white rum from 1989. And if you watch that, you'll learn about the Spanish aristocracy, a Spanish woman who lived in Louisiana, who died in Louisiana in the 1880s. She stayed here after the Spanish colonial era. And she was a grandee, that would be like a Spanish noble, Lady Pontalba. And there's the Pontalba Apartments, named after her and her family. They still have Pontalbas living in Louisiana. Pontalbas. I saw that somebody in the paper named Pontalba. So that's going to be interesting rum. Then I have a gold rum, the Pontalba Gold. But back to the Goose Island. Craig says Goose Island IPA is a modern classic in my opinion. I agree with that. And I've used that term many times, modern classic. Like the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, the Sierra Nevada Torpedo, all the Shipyard beers. People like to hate on Shipyard Boy like crazy, you know, but they don't as much anymore because I guess Shipyard has kind of faded away. I wish it wouldn't have faded away. I always liked it. I think people didn't understand Shipyard because they used that, it's a New England company. They used that, it was like an unusual yeast strain. I can't remember. I had it in my head just now. It went out of my head. But to me, it made them taste unique. Gave it a little character, but other people say, oh no, it's all terrible, everything needs to be the same. You know, I mean, to me that's like what they're saying, everything needs to be the same. If it's not the same, it's bad. But I always thought, to me it's unique. I like it. Like Shipyard, but they faded from Louisiana. We every now and then we'll get some of their Trader Joe's brands. Which is using a different name. Like, it's the same stuff. Like they'll have Pumpkinhead, but they call it something else in the Trader Joe's name. The pumpkin beer. Federal Jack, I think. Federal Jack. That's like a brew pub down in Florida, but it's owned by Shipyard. I like that Shipyard IPA. I like the Old Thumper. That's a British beer by Ringwood Brewing, but Shipyard makes it here. The double Old Thumper was even more delicious, but it's discontinued. Like, yeah, let's discontinue it. Let's discontinue it since it's the best one we make, 11%. Kind of like Brooklyn Brewing. Let's see, what's the best beer we make? Monster barley wine. What is it, 12%, 10%, right? Let's get rid of it. You know, since it's the best one we make. Crazy. Pabst Brewing Company. Old Tankard Ale. It's the best Pabst beer. Let's get rid of it. I know what they're going to say. There were no sales. Yeah, no promotion. But I mean, I shouldn't pick on them. The company doesn't really have any money. Cash poor. Man, they've been cash poor since I was 10, maybe 5. You say, but they acquired all these other companies, G. Heilemann, Stroh's, Schlitz, Schaefer. Yeah, and they were all cash poor. They basically acquired their debt load. And they acquired a portfolio of a bunch of dying brands, underperforming beer brands. So that's what Pabst has, a bunch of lingering, decayed, which are very good recipes, brands. But it's not my problem. I like them. I like their products. If you ask me who makes the best American produced macro lagers, I would say Pabst. Do I like Anheuser-Busch beers? Yes. Do I like Coors beers? Yes. Do I like Miller Coors beers? Yes. I forgot. They're the same company now, Molson Coors. But something about Pabst are a little better. I don't mean way better. Don't get me wrong. I didn't say way better. I said a little better. But it's just like nothing ever catches on with them, you know. I wrote them an email like in 2003, and I was like, man, I really like your beers, you know. And they were so happy that somebody like contacted them. Oh man, thanks. They sent me a cap and a t-shirt and a keychain and stickers on the wall. What do you have? I think you can see it back there. There's more of my fingers pointing. What do you have? And then I brought the other bumper sticker to Henry's Bar on Magazine Street, New Orleans. And they're like famous for having Pabst on draft. I said, y'all want this bumper sticker? Oh yeah, thanks. So they put it up. And they sent me a coaster, you know, one of those things to keep the table from getting messed up. So I wasn't doing it to get swag. I was just trying to be nice to the people. But they don't send out literature. Like even then I was like in 1999, I was like, can you send me, it might have been earlier than that. Can you send me some paperwork on your products, brochures? Oh, just look it up on the internet, they said. It's like, okay. I wanted that paper, like souvenirs. I have from, oh yeah, I forgot to check on Champagne. I have all of these, whoops. I have all of these things from the other companies. Let's see, but Goose Island is pleasant. Now, me and you, like you might be like Craig Swinson, like a veteran beer drinker, you know? So you might say, heck, Goose Island ain't that bitter. Yeah, I know. It isn't really. It's kind of mild. It is mild. That's pretty bitter though, but I'm so used to it. But it's like hot sauce. I might say it ain't hot, but other people say, oh, it's so hot. I'm like, come on. I ask people, you know, people think Louisiana, yeah, everybody's into hot food. It's like, not wrong. I tell people at work, hey, you want some hot sauce for that? What you eating? No. I say, what about some black pepper? I just tell them, I'm just trying to hear what they're going to say. They say, why do you think I would want black pepper on this? I say, well, black pepper is a common thing people put on food. No, they don't want it. They don't want it. My father, he's like, no, it's hot. It's hot. Crystal hot sauce. You could drink the bottle, you know, wouldn't even give you a tummy ache. But he's like, oh, it's hot. It's like, not hot. Tabasco, not hot. Cajun Chef, not hot. So on and so on and so on. Yeah, now you get stuff like Dave's Insanity sauce. Yeah, it's hot. It makes my nose run, my eyes water. I got to blow my nose, wipe my face with a towel. But it's sort of like detracts from the food because like people say it's all capsaicin. It's just like sort of like manufactured. It's not really the heat that bothers you. It's like the capsaicin. It's like this. It's hard to describe. That's why I stopped using that Taco Bell Diablo sauce. Was it too hot for me? No. But it would like detract from the food, like the flavor. So I said it's a number of capsaicin. So I started using the fire sauce. I went back to fire, going back to fire, going back to fire. Going back to fire. Yeah, I think so. So, and it doesn't detract from the food. It's not hot. Fire sauce is not hot. But in my father's mind, it would be like the hottest thing ever. These people next door, I bet you everybody in this street would think, that's so hot. Go to Don's Country Market. They got smoked sausage. You say, boy, it's Louisiana. They all get the hot. No. I bet you it's 8. I was about to say 80 to 20. No, it's probably 60-40. But I bet you that's too low. It's probably 60% mild and 40% hot that they're selling. But I bet you it's more. But I don't think people, no, years ago, maybe, yeah. Because when I went to elementary school, those old women from the river parishes would light it up. Spaghetti and meatballs, they would light it up. I never had anything hot like that. And red beans and rice, but the spaghetti and meatballs, it would just like go full bore with heat. It was incredible. So to me, I was so shocked. I was like, this is so hot. But I was hungry, so I would eat it. You know, I'm talking about 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, whatever. I didn't think Reserve Junior High had very good food, but Woodland Elementary did, pretty much. LaPlace Elementary did. The high school did. Then when I was teaching, it started going down because they started using all this prepackaged stuff. But sound like a bad wreck on interstate. Well, it is an interstate highway. It runs all the way to Minnesota. But U.S. Highway 61. Terrible wrecks on that road. So I got used to eating that food. The heat. And we would get people from up north. We have so many Yankees. That's what we call them. Actually, I don't really call them that. I would hear other people saying that. So I like to steal everybody else's catchphrases, you see. So, but so I said, well, if that's what people say, I'll say it. We used to say a lot of other things that I couldn't repeat on this particular broadcast. Oh, the things I could tell you that I would not tell you, but I could tell you and you would not believe. Well, you probably believe it. You'd be so appalled. But it's just normal talk. Normal. But anyway, it's the truth though. But all these people from New Hampshire, Minnesota, Ohio, Indiana, Iowa would come here to work at DuPont, Shell, Monsanto, Union Carbide, didn't matter. And they would live here. Their parents would work there. So they would make a lot of money. And it was carpetbaggers. Well, they weren't all necessarily carpetbaggers, you see. I mean, they were, but carpetbaggers really implies that they're going to move here to work, but actually to undermine the culture, you know, like revolutionaries to be dealt with. But these were usually not like that. They might have been, they weren't really. So, but they, I remember they would always say, the food's so hot. These kids, the food's so spicy, I can't eat it. I can't eat it. Now, by the end of the school year, that was it. They could never go back. They would be eating the red beans and rice and the ham hocks and the spaghetti and meatballs with all that fiery heat, and that was it. Once you get used to it, you can't. Then everything was bland. Like they say, oh, the food back in Illinois. You know, we're from Alton, Illinois. The food back there is so bland. And I was like, yeah. But at first you thought it was good. Have I had good food up north? Yes. Was it spicy enough? No. Was that a big problem? No, since you could just say, can I have some hot sauce? Most restaurants, even up there, have it. Can I have some black pepper? Yeah. Very good seafood in New York City, though, I have to admit. Very good seafood. And see, New Orleans people are they think they have the best seafood in the world. Okay, maybe so. But I've been to New York City. I ate at the Oyster House at Grand Central Station, you know, down in the basement. Very good. It's expensive as you know what. You know what I mean? It's very expensive, but it's so good. I was like, this shrimp plate is dynamite. I'm at an Oyster House. I'm eating shrimp, but you know, it's fried. It's really good. All right, let's look at this here. I'm enjoying this Goose Island. No, I think it's Island. It's a good drinker. It's so good. It's a little dirty. You know, ales be a little dirty, you know, gritty, dirty. I always use Bud Light drinkers as a reference point because they always think everything's nasty. You know, like they would take this and say, oh, that's the worst beer I ever had. And then, of course, I'm like, why do you have to be so close-minded? You eat chicken livers? You eat a bird's guts? Nah, huh? But you won't drink this because it's so bad. Trying to find champagne. You know what? I'm not going to find champagne on here. You know why? Because champagne was not purchased by Stroh's until 1996. And this brochure is actually from 94, even though they sent it to me in 96. Oh, yeah. You know how there's a myth that macro companies. I used to be fascinated by this. I'm still fascinated. But you don't hear this myth as much anymore. But people still believe it. They would say, oh, the macro companies, Budweiser, Miller, Anheuser-Busch, they're conspiring to kill craft beer. It was such a laugh. I was like, wow, that's funny that you say that because I've got brochures and I actually experienced it myself before this was like a thing, that they were producing all kind of what we would call craft beers today. It's like, if they were trying to destroy it, why were they making it? You know what I mean? Why were they making it if they're trying to destroy it? It's totally incoherent. Like, here's the list right here. Like, look. This is, well, these are malt liquor coolers, But, okay, Red River, North Dakota Reserve, Northern Plains. Here you go. Red River Valley Select Red Lager. Introduced in 94. The individual talents of Stroh's brewing experts in Detroit. That's Detroit. At each of its 5 breweries. They used to have 5. This was a company, but it collapsed. Red River Valley Select is a regional premium specialty beer developed by malting and brewing experts at Northern Plains Brewing Company, a specialty division of Stroh's in Minnesota. Red River Valley begins with hand-selected 6-row barley. Strange that 6-row instead of 2-row, but they... In the Northern Plains, it then malted in small batches in a boutique malt house in St. Paul. The beer is brewed to perfection using only the finest ingredients of specialty malted barley, Saz and Styrian hops, and glacier reserve water. Yeah, right. So they're trying to kill craft beer. All right, White Mountain Ice. Oh, well. Augsburger. This is a whole line. Augsburger, super premium specialty beer produced and distributed by Stroh. The brand is brewed for consumers who desire distinctive crafted beer. Augsburger Golden, Dark, Bach, and Rot, R-O-T, Rot, are available year-round and made with a generous portion of high, dried, and caramel malts. Domestic and imported hops are combined to create each brew's distinctive character and flavor. Augsburger Weisse, Oktoberfest, and Doppelbock are seasonal beers introduced in 1993 to give the brand additional variety. Watch for more seasonal brews in the future. Yeah. Sure. They were trying to kill it. That's why they were making them. It's like you would have to have a child's mentality to believe that. And it goes on. It doesn't stop. It just goes on, It's so much proof to counter that mythology. I have all these magazine articles about Stroh's. Yeah, I mean, most of their money was in ice beers and malt liquors and stuff. But they sent me this letter. August 30th. This was Louis Greco, staff assistant. Mr. R.J. Terrio Jr. Address. Dear Mr. Terrio, I'm writing to you on behalf of the Stroh Brewing Company to thank you for your recent letter. At your request, I'm sending you an informational kit about the Stroh Brewery Company. I hope you will find this of interest. Thanks again for writing, Stroh. Sincerely, Louis. This was obviously not a form letter. So they sent me this huge packet. They sent me all this stuff about them buying Heilemann Brewing. I was at Heilemann the day it was bought. Literally, I was at the brewery and it was bought. And I have the keychain over there to prove it. The Stroh family. Well, Strohs couldn't make it. They couldn't make it. They couldn't make it. Oh, that's a good beer. What would I score that? A, 96 out of too high. 95 out of 100. So they got bought by Pabst. And Pabst ain't exactly setting the world on fire. Let's see what they bought. Ah, here we go. Champagne. That's what I was looking for. Champagne. I found some champagne. Never did find Primo. McSorley's. They used to sell McSorley's in this very town. The dark and the pale. Boy, that was good beer. Boy, let me tell you. I went to New York City in Manhattan, and I went to McSorley's old ale house, but I saw the price. I was like, I don't think so. I'm not paying that kind of money for a 10-ounce mug. I don't care how good it is. But the bottled beer was still good. It was very good. Stroh Brewery. It's sad that that this company could just collapse. Detroit, Michigan, too. It goes on and on. I mean, it's just doesn't stop. And it was nice that the company sent me all this. I mean, it's just pages of literature on brands. And Miller did the same thing. This is not a joke. This was back in the good old days when these companies would just send you stuff. Special export. Ooh. What a beer. It just don't stop. Who are the officers of the company? Like, I didn't ask for, like, who are the officers of the company? What are Stroh's major threats? Currently, the greatest threat facing the industry is an increased excise tax on a product that is already heavily taxed. Well, was that really the case? It says Stroh's greatest strength is the production efficiency achieved at our 8 breweries. Can you imagine this? This was sent to me, and they had 8 breweries. Now it doesn't even exist. Doesn't even exist. Because we are streamlined, we can produce exceptional products more efficiently. Today, in light of the extreme competitiveness, the relatively flat level of sales industry-wide, and the nation's current economic status, which actually wasn't bad, our wide range of products is an advantage. Well, it really wasn't an advantage. Because here was the problem. People didn't buy it. And it's all about, we're positioning ourselves to battle that out, and we got all these numbers you can call, and it goes on and on. What are your promotional plans? How do you determine the target market for brands? How are you pricing your products? What are the current trends? This is interesting from 1996 when they sent this to me. Specialty beers and microbrews have become 2 of the fastest. Hello. 2 of the fastest growing categories in the beer industry. As of September 96, there were more than 1,000 microbreweries, brew pubs, and regional specialty breweries in North America. The volume of crafted beer, that's what they say, shipped between 94 and 95 alone grew from 6.4 to 10.4 million. Stroh's line of Henry Weinhard's, Augsburger, Red River Valley, and First Reserve beers compete in this category. They competed, but they didn't compete well, and it didn't achieve any kind of significant attention. And they're saying other categories showing significant growth in the past year include wheat beers, ales, and black and tans. As consumers become more tuned in to craft beers, more knowledgeable about their ingredients, and more attracted to their flavorful profiles, they are sampling these types of beers at an increasing rate. So it just goes on, and they were trying to get a handle on it, but it didn't work. And then the lady sent me a business card, Lacey Alexis Logan, Senior Director, Corporate Communications and Public Relations. And who knows what happened to all these people. He says this is about Goose Island. Why are you talking about strip? Well, Goose Island is kind of like part of that, but they were like pure craft beer. There's the business card, you see. So, by golly. You wouldn't or couldn't have talked about, I could not have talked about beautiful brochure. It's got beautiful photographs. And there's a big empty brewery in Detroit today, probably full of rats. Full of rats. I saw that somebody trespassed onto the property of Owensboro, Kentucky at Glenmore Distillery. Took photos. And they had bags of grain still there. I couldn't believe rats had not broken into it. Bags of grain. Of course, probably now, who knows? But that was like 5 years ago. But Goose Island was one of those new companies that did make it. Got bought out. That's how they made it. Stroh's was an old company from the 1800s that couldn't make it. Pabst is an old company that honestly may not make it. Anyway, whatever, you know. That's it. Goose Island IPA. Would I recommend it? You betcha. You betcha, guys. Jeremy Vincent says, drink up, cheers, Ron. Cheers to you. So I appreciate y'all watching my like long drawn out, but I could go through those brochures and make hours long videos, hours long. And it would prove a lot of points, really. Gergely says, I like this beer when it's fresh. Yes, with the India Pale Ale, fresh is definitely where you want to be. This is not fresh. And in fact, it's out of date. No, I retract that statement. It's not out of date. It will be at the end of the month. Very good. In fact, extremely good. And for the price, $6.99 at Walmart. Oh, well, let's not go that far. $8.99 at $8.98. That's it. $8.98 at Walmart. Are you kidding me? That's what they say on Major League Baseball games all the time. Guy hits a home run or it makes a big catch. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I'm watching. I'm like, no, he's not kidding you. He made a catch. He's an athlete. Cheers, sir, says Ronnie S. A most excellent India Pale Ale. And that's how I'm going to end this. A most excellent India Pale Ale, y'all.